Hi, this is our AP Human video project. My name is Nicholas Perez and I'll be doing Chapter 1, Key Issue 1. Geography's Basic Concepts. Human geography and history both rely on evidence from human activity. To introduce human geography, we must understand the two main features of human behavior: culture and economy. Some cultural features are major languages, religions, and ethnicities, and some economic activities include agriculture, manufacturing, and services. The most important tool to geography is a map, and two basic concepts that geographers use to show everywhere on Earth is unique are place and region. To explain why different locations are interrelated, geographers use three concepts: scale, space, and connection. Here's the vocabulary. Next section, mapping. Geographers' most important tool for thinking about the distribution of features across the Earth is a map. Maps serve two purposes: a reference tool and a communication tool. A map helps us to find our whereabouts in places we don't know and helps us find things around the world. A map also helps us depict distribution of human activities and or physical features. Geography have worked to perfect the science of map making called cartography by using satellite pictures and computers. Geographic thought in the ancient Eastern Middle East Mediterranean include the following. After Platoni, little progress in mapmaking was made in Europe for more than 1,000 years. Maps have become less mathematical and more imaginative, showing Earth as a flat disk surrounded by fierce animals and monsters. Some ancient and medieval contributions outside Europe include the following. Yugong was written by an unknown author in the 5th century BCE, described the economic resources of a country's different provinces. Pio Ux, the father of the Chinese cartography, who produced an elaborate map of the country in 267 CE. Muhammad al-Drisul, an Arab geographer whose extensive travels throughout Southwest Asia and North Africa informed his creation of a world map in geography text in 1154. Tua, a Moroccan scholar who wrote his Ria bases on 3 decades of journeys covering more than 120,000 kilometers through northern Africa, southern Europe, and much of Asia. Influential European cartographers included Martin Waldsumer, a German cartographer who was credited with producing the first map to use the label America; Aram Ortulis, a Flemish cartographer who created the first modern atlas and was the first to hypothesize that all continents were once connected and drifted apart; Bernhardus Varanus, who produced Geographia Generals. Here's the vocabulary for this section. Contemporary geographic tools. Maps have become essential for delivery of contemporary online services through smartphones, tablets, and computers. GI science analyzes data about Earth through satellites and other technologies. GIS captures stories and queries. Some of the data used in GIS come from photos. Taking photographs of the Earth's surface for measurements is photogrammetry. Data about Earth's surface from satellites is remote sensing. GPS can help you find your exact location. Most maps that are fed into our electronic devices are provided by a handful of companies. VGI is geographical data that is shared by voluntary individuals for free. A mashup is when one company's map overlays the other company's map. Individuals can make mashups because mapping services provide access to application programming interface. Here's the vocabulary for this section. The level of detail on the map depends on its map scale. Map scale is presented in three ways: ratio, written, graphic. A ratio or fraction shows a numerical relationship between on distances the map and the Earth's surface. A written scale describes the relationship between a map and Earth's distances in words. A graphic scale usually consists of bar lines marked to show distance on Earth's surface. Earth's spherical shape poses a challenge for cartographers because drawing Earth on a flat piece of paper unavoidably produces some distortion. Four types of distortions can occur. The shape of an area can be distorted so it appears more elongated than in reality. The distance between the points become increased or decreased. The relative size of different areas may be altered so that one may appear larger on the map. Here are the different types of projections. Here's the vocabulary. Interpreting maps. The geographic grid plays an important role in telling time. The location of any place on Earth's surface can be described precisely by meridians and parallels. A meridian is an arc connecting the north and south poles. The location of each meridian is defined on Earth's surface according to a numbering system known as longitude. Greenwich, England is 0 degrees longitude and is the prime meridian. In 1714, the British Parliament offered a prize equivalent to serve million in today's dollar to the person who could first measure longitude accurately. Maps can be represented in many different ways. Islon map, dot distribution map, choropleth map, graduate symbol map, and cartogram. Here are the different types of maps. Here's the vocabulary.
Chapter 1, KC 3. I'm Tarek Kavanaugh. Place is often defined by a specific location or point on Earth distinguished by a particular characteristic, usually being a physical characteristic. An important term we see is toponym. Toponym refers to the name given to a place on Earth. Um, a place on Earth is usually named after a person or a founder of the place, and not very often, but sometimes we see a place named to after a famous person who had nothing to do with the location. A physical location of a place is very commonly used by a geographer to describe a place. Important site characteristics are things such as climate, water or ocean sources, soil, and vegetation. Site factors can be very important for settlers and settlement. Humans are capable of modifying the characteristics of a site. An example of when humans modified the characteristics of a site is in central Boston, which is now almost twice as large as it was in the colonial times. Situation may help people find an unfamiliar place by comparing it to a familiar one. A region does not gain uniqueness from possessing a single human or a single environmental feature, but usually by a combination of the two. Geographers identify regions into three main groups. These three main groups being a formal region, a functional region, and a vernacular region. A formal region is a region or an area where everyone shares one or more cultural characteristics, such as a language. Sometimes formal regions can be very easy to identify. A functional region is an area or region that is organized around a node or focal point. A functional region is tied to the central point by transportation or communication systems. A vernacular region is an area of which people believe to exist as a part of their religion or cultural beliefs and or identity. Geographers refer to culture to constitute distinct traditions of a group or of people. Geographers study why certain things, such as customary ideas, beliefs, and values of people, produce a distinctive culture in a particular place. Another main thing geographers look at when considering culture is the production of material wealth, like food, clothing, and shelter, which is necessary for people to survive and thrive. Geographers divide the country of the world into two separate groups. These groups are countries that are more developed and countries that are less developed. A region can gain meaning through a unique combination of features. The presence of some features may be coincidental and other features may be related. Spatial association is used to observe if one feature in a region is or is not related to another feature in the region. Some important vocab we see in key issue 2 of chapter 1 is situation. Situation is commonly referred to as relative location, which is the location of a place to other places. An example would be Mar Vista High School is located east of the beach but north of the US Mexico border. Absolute location. Absolute location is the exact location of a place that will not change. Absolute location is usually determined by longitude and latitude lines. An example of absolute location would be San Diego is located at 32.715 north and 117.1611 west. A formal region is also commonly referred to as a uniform region. This is an area which everyone shares one or more distinctive characteristic characteristics, usually concerning language or culture. An example of this could be the French-speaking area of Canada. A vernacular region may also be called a percipital region, which is an area that people believe exists as a part of their cultural identity. An example would be Jerusalem, where Christians, Jews, and Muslims all have religious beliefs tied into Jerusalem. One of the most important vocabulary words we see in Key Issue 2 is culture. Culture is the body of customary beliefs, material traits, and social forms that together constitute the distinct tradition of a group of people. An example of culture would be a religion such as Christianity.
Adria Lucero, Chapter 1, Key Issue 3. Key Issue 3 is about three basic concepts: scale, space, and connections. Globalization is a force or process that involves the entire world and results in making something worldwide in scope. Globalization means that the scale of the world is shrinking, and groups of people are preserving distinctive cultural characteristics. Geographers observe that increasingly uniform cultural preferences produce uniform global landscapes of material artifacts and cultural values. Transnational corporation A transnational corporation conducts research, operates factories, and sells products in many countries, not just where its headquarters are located. For example, Ford and McDonald's. Every place in the world is part of the global economy, but globalization has led to more specialization at the local level. Distribution is the arrangement of a feature in space. Density is the frequency with which something occurs in space. Concentration is the extent of a feature spread over space. Pattern is the geometric arrangement of objects in space. Concentration is not the same as density. Electric communications have played an especially important role in removing barriers to interaction between people who are physically far from each other. Opportunities for interaction are unequal in part because the quality of electric service varies among places. Post-structuralist geography examines how the powerful in a society dominate. Humanistic geography is the different ways that individuals form ideas about places and give those places symbolic meanings. Behavioral geography is the importance of understanding the psychological basis for individual human actions in space. Uneven development is the increasing gap in economic conditions between regions in the core that results from the globalization of the economy. Patterns in space vary according to gender, ethnicity, and sexuality. When individuals do not fit established gender stereotypical norms, they face stigma or exclusion. Girls and boys learn through a socialization process the gender roles they are expected to follow. Gender equality are equal chances for females to access and control social, economic, and political resources. Openly lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer people may be attracted to some locations that reinforce identity through interaction with other LGBTQ people. Ethnic identity is tied to a particular place. Racial identity is a social construct. Diffusion is a feature that spreads across space from one place to another over time. Hearth is a place from which an innovation originates. Relocation diffusion is the spread of an idea through physical movement of people from one place to another. Expansion diffusion is the spread of a feature from one place to another in an additive process. Hierarchical diffusion is the spread of an idea from persons of authority. Contagious diffusion is the rapid diffusion of a characteristic throughout a population. Stimulus diffusion is the spread of an underlying principle even though a characteristic itself apparently fails to diffuse. Distance decay is the contact is when contact diminishes with increasing distance and eventually disappears. Space-time compression is the Space-time compression describes the reduction in the time it takes from something to reach another place. Network is a chain of communication that connects places. Assimilation is the process by which a group's cultural features are altered to resemble those of another group. Acculturation is the process of changes in culture that result from the meeting of two groups. Syncretism is the combining of elements of two groups that come together to form a new culture.
Chapter 1, Key Issue 1. Sustainability is the use of Earth's materials in a way to ensure their availability in the future. According to the UN, sustainability rests on three pillars: environment, economy, and society. The sustainable use of and management of Earth's natural resources to meet human needs such as food. Humans need shelter, food, and clothing to survive, so they make use of the environment to meet these needs. Natural resources acquire a monetary value through exchange in a market. Most of Earth's organisms live in the biosphere, which encompasses all of Earth's living organisms. If the atmosphere contains pollutants, animals struggle breathing. If the lithosphere has little resources, it is hard to survive for some animals. Without the hydrosphere, most animals would die. Human geographers are interested in the fact that different cultures after the four spheres alter the four spheres in different ways. Environmental determinism is when a culture changes the environment around them based on what is available, such as corn in Mexico, or wheat from the Fertile Crescent, or different building styles based on available resources. The Dutch have modified their environment with two distinctive types of construction: polders and dikes. Polder is a piece of land that is created by draining water from an area. The Netherlands has 6,500 square kilometers of polders. Cape Town, South Africa, has been regarded as an example of sustainability development. They nearly ran out of water in 2018. Located in the southwest tip of Africa, they had leaky pipes which were fixed by the city and nearly drained their reservoirs. Cape Town face an unsustainable future as they will likely face water shortages and droughts. Earth as a sphere is divided into 360 degrees of longitude from 0 degrees to 180 degrees west. Every 15 degrees is a time zone, and there's 24 time zones. Coordinated use of universal time is the time at the prime meridian. 0 degrees is the master reference to time on Earth. The US is 75 degrees on the map and has about 3 time zones. Each time zone is a 1 hour of difference, so 1 hour in Imperial Beach would be 4 o'clock in New York. Thank you.